Now, if this is enough to show Islam is filthy from the pit of hell, then we can go on if you wanted to say about Christianity. Let me know.
Yeah, my sister Mariam has been showing me a lot of verses, and the feeling I have when I read those, or when she reads them to me, I actually relate to that more. I feel like that's what I believe when I read those, especially John.
Yep.
But yeah, I would like if you could go ahead and.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to show you what Jesus says if you harm a little child. You ready? Watch the difference. Look what Jesus says. Watch the difference between Jesus and Muhammad and his God. At that time, the disciples came to Jesus and said, "Who then is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" And he called a child to himself, a child, and set before them and said, "Truly I say to you, unless you are converted and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever therefore will humble himself as this child, he's the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoever receives one such child in my name receives me," meaning for his sake. I'm showing love to children and being compassionate because of Jesus, because I love Jesus, so I honor children, not harm them. But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to stumble, it is better for him that a heavy millstone be hung around his neck and he be drowned in the depth of the sea. In other words, it would be better for Muhammad to drown himself and die like a dog than what he did to children. Woe to the world because of its stumbling blocks. Woe to anyone who causes anyone to stumble, especially children, whether spiritual children or physical. For it is inevitable that stumbling blocks come. Nevertheless, woe to that man through whom the stumbling block comes, like Muhammad. It's because of him, young girls are being violated, heartbroken, experiencing physiological, psychological damage. Young boys are being abused. And that's another thing I haven't got into. What Muslims know, and it's fully documented, widespread, the widespread homosexuality, grown men sleeping with young boys. It's widespread in Islam, and there's even a book written about it. And if I can't share the PDF. There are actually artwork written by Muslims showing grown men in paintings mounting young boys with erect penises and vice versa. It's more prevalent than you think. Muslim men and Muslim societies, can you confirm it is a widespread epidemic where grown men take young boys and then violate them, sodomize them? It is widespread, but they keep it hush hush. Why boys? Because there is interaction between men and boys, but not men and women. So when they see a boy and he's young and he's beardless, they end up mounting that child in the name of their filthy religion. Go
In
ahead.
our culture, that's actually very common in Pakistan and Afghanistan,
Thank
especially.
you.
It's called bachabazi.
Thank you. Say it again.
It's
Say it
called
again.
bachabazi. It's extremely common. The young boys, they dance in the middle of a room with old men, and what happens after the cameras close, we cannot even imagine. And I have personal stories. I've talked to Afghan boys. I have a personal friend who left Islam. He's Afghani American now, and he's told me crazy stories, and it breaks my heart. It's not just the young girls, but the young boys too. And
You
see,
better
it's
believe.
just heartbreaking.
Now, you see why you can't hate Muhammad enough?
I can't never hate him enough. I curse him every day of my life.
Glory to Jesus Christ. But now notice the difference with Jesus. Look what he says. If you cause a child to stumble, better for you to do what? To hang a millstone around your neck, drown yourself, because look what he says is going to happen to you. And if your hand or your foot causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it from you. In other words, prevent yourself from using your limbs to violate these children. It is better for you to enter life, meaning everlasting life, crippled or lame, than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast into the eternal fire. And if your eye causes you to stumble, tear it out and throw it from you. It is better for you to enter life with 1 eye than having 2 eyes to be cast into the fiery hell. And look, Jesus is warning. See that you do not despise one of these little ones. For I say to you that their angels, Jesus says they have angels assigned to them. and they are praying to the Father for them, for their protection, and that God will harm those who harm them. In this life or in the day of judgment, their angels in heaven continually see the face of my Father who's in heaven. Do you see the difference between Jesus and Muhammad? What does he say about your 3-year-old son? He says, he's the greatest in the kingdom. Here, look. At that time, disciples came to Jesus and said, who then is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And he called the child to himself and set him before him and said, truly I say to you, unless you are converted and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever therefore will humble himself as this child, he is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. He says it again. This is the true God revealed in Jesus Christ.
This is so different than
You better believe it.
I have like, I feel like I'm choking up, having a hard time believing that what I've been believing versus this.
Isn't it amazing? Because you can't help fall in love with Jesus because he's beautiful. I'm going to show you. Look at his teachings. Look at the difference. Here's another one. Matthew 19, 13 and 15. Then some children were brought to him so they might lay his hands on them and pray. And disciples rebuked them. But Jesus said, let the children alone. Do not hinder them from coming to me. For the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. And after laying his hands on them, he departed from there. And you tell me if this is not day and night. Christ is day and Muhammad is night.